Hey guys, this new year, you want to discover new literary marvels such as A Death in Sweden, a best-selling thriller novel? Or what about Beauty of the Beast, a vampire novel? Or even Tempting, a hot, steamy erotica novel? Or maybe, just maybe, you are looking for love and purpose in your life. Check out my blog at fredericby.com. That's fredericby.com. But for now, enjoy the show. Hello everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for pushing the download button. I am Frederic B.A. and I am talking to you from right here in the Caribbean. That's right. I am not in cold, freezy Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but the temperature here in the Caribbean, more specifically in Guadeloupe, is amazing. I'm having a blast. I love it. It is hot. It is humid. I'm at the beach. I hang out at the beach. I am under the sun. This is amazing. And I just want to say a shout out to all my friends who are stuck maybe in the cold winter. You are listening to the Book Geek Unchained. Yes, Unchained, home to the literary marvels. Those you know and those you don't know. I am a geek. I am a dude. I am a bookworm. I am a guy. I am a writer. I am a host. I am a taxpayer. I am a partner. I am an animal lover. Basically, I am everything you want me to be, basically, okay? This podcast is about fiction and non-fiction books that we love. Books change our lives. Books entertain us. Books make us grow. Books are everything. Stories are everything, aren't they? Basically, this podcast is a live podcast. It is free. Every time you download it on iTunes, please go over there, subscribe, give it a review. Because if we're out there, if the Book Geek Unchained is out there and is getting listeners, we're going to have more and more books to discover. And this is what you want, right? So it is free every time you download it on iTunes. The way you can do that, leave a review for more podcasts. Free gifts. You love free gifts. Q&As with amazing authors. Subscribe at www.fredericby.com. You can also join me on Twitter at ByFred, on Facebook. Simply type in my name, Frederic By, or check out my YouTube channel, The Book Geek, for previous episodes. All right, guys, I always love to start off with something funny, because this is a funny show and I am a funny guy and you like to have fun, don't you? All right, so this is about Bob, who was in a terrible motorcycle accident. His legs were not in great shape. Oh no, they were not, to say the least. After a couple of weeks of therapy, it soon became clear to the doctor that they were just pushing off the inevitable. Due, however, to Bob's frail condition, the doctor was afraid to give him the bad news. Instead, he gave the sorry job to Bob's wife. Of course, wives, sometimes they do the bad job, don't they? Of 40 years, hoping that she would know how to break the bad news to him ever so slowly and gently. "Honey," said Bob's wife, Eva, the next morning, "I've got good news and bad news. Which one would you like to hear first?" Bob, always in a morbid state, responded in his usual grumpy voice. "What do I care? Just give me the bad news." "Well, dear," said Eva, cupping Bob's hand. With her 2 hands. I hate to have to tell you this, but it seems like your legs are going to have to be taken off. Bob, barely able to hold his voice from cracking, croaked out, Eva, what's the good news? The good news, said Eva happily, is that the gardener that was in here just before said he may be interested in buying your slippers from you. Hey guys, quick thanks to RadioGuestList.com, where you can find people to interview for free. For free. Or if you want to be interviewed, you can go there too. RadioGuestList.com. Thank you guys for your support. And speaking of you listeners, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. If you would like to be on this show to discuss a book you have written or that you loved, if you have a book recommendation or you just want to chat, email me. I want to hear from you at info@fredericbaye.com. That's info@fredericbaye.com. And for advertisement offers, use the same address with subject advertising. All right, let's go. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. All right, hey, this week's blog, I decided to write about this crazy thing that often happens to me, and I'm pretty sure it happens to a lot of you out there. It's about the sabotaging. Anyway, it's one or the other. The sabotaging monkey. Have you ever been on the threshold of success? Okay? Or something that you really, really want, and suddenly these crazy monkeyish thoughts bombard your mind. You know what I mean? As though you were in a first date with, the person you have fantasized your whole life, and all of a sudden they're just in front of you and you say the stupidest things. I mean, as hard as you work on your confidence, you just lose you seem to lose all your senses, right? Your mind just doesn't cooperate. And that sabotaging monkey, the one who says that you can't make it, Fred, you can't make it, you're too this, you're too that. I experienced it in the past, and I am still trying to tame that little monster, that little freaking monster that shows up always at the wrong time, right when I'm on the threshold right there of success. Well, I talk about this this week, and more. So check it out. It's a very, very important blog. It's a very, very fun blog. This year we had amazing books. We had amazing guests, and let's get over them right now. Let's talk about a few of the books that we went over. First one, okay, you guys know by now, I'm a huge fan of, the subject of finding our life's purpose, the subject of finding love, of relationships, of that kind of subject. I am always asking myself, what is my life's purpose? I asked myself that question so many times, and I think I'm on the right path. It's dangerous to say, yes, I'm on the right path, but and a lot of these books that we talk about this year really helped me, and I know they will help you. The first one we talked about, one of them we talked about is The Seeker's Guide by Elizabeth Lesser. Now, I don't know if you listened to the episode I did on that book. That book, it changed my life, and I am serious about it. I'm not joking. It changed my life. what it did for me was, first of all, I remember discovering that book when I was, maybe it was like 10 years ago, and I used to walk across that library every single day after work, and I saw that book, picked it up. I stumbled upon the poem that is my favorite poem. There is no author of that poem, and I've shared that poem with you countless times on my website, on Twitter, on Facebook. And this is really a guide for me, and I know it will do the same thing for you as far as your spiritual journey. She has an open mind. She explains it in an open way. The spiritual journey that we are all on, and oftentimes we all seek. If you are a seeker, if you are a spiritual seeker, this is the book that you have to read. Elizabeth Lesser was on Oprah countless times for a good reason. She is amazing. Pick it up, all right? Pick it up. The second book that we talked about was a book by the son of the wealthiest man on earth. And the title is Life is What You Make It. We talked about that book. And why did I bring that book up? Why? Because have you ever wondered what it's like to be in the head of the son of the wealthiest man on earth? Well, maybe you haven't, but maybe you have. Peter Buffett explains his life in such a natural, easygoing way. It's not even funny. It reads simple. It's a spiritual book. It doesn't talk about how to make money, because you will discover that it seems as if the wealthiest people are also the simplest people in many ways. And I think, Peter Buffett explains his journey, his spiritual journey to find his purpose in a natural, simple way. We talked about it in the second episode ever of the Book Geek Unchained. A must read. The third book. I'm sure that you've read, you've read a lot of books before. I'm sure that you've heard about that book in the past. Another, spiritual book is The Shack. The Shack, William P. Young. Yes, pick it up. Why? Because have you ever lost a son? Have you ever lost a daughter? Or have you ever been? Have you ever been angry at God for your life? Well, this book will answer your questions. It's a classic. William P. Young is, I think he's the most popular Christian author, in my opinion. One of the most popular. You're going to have a new vision about Christianity, about God, and he really mixes just everything. God is a black woman. Jesus is a white man or black man. He really blends everything in. There you have Muslims. He really blends all kind of religions and cultures, and the image that we have of Jesus and God, Jesus with the long brown hair with a beard and the white guy. He really doesn't go along with that, and I appreciated that. I appreciated it in that book. Third book. Well, actually, the two next books are written by the same author. My favorite author. The author that I love. Paulo Coelho. Two books that really changed my life. They really changed my perspective, and I know it did for a lot of people around the world, because these two, especially one of these two, is a classic. The first one I want to talk to you about, The Winner Stands Alone. Why did I pick up that book? Because we have oftentimes we have a vision, a mindset about a belief about the world of showbiz. And in my opinion, Paulo Coelho describes what goes on inside the minds of people in showbiz in an amazing way. He describes it in you get into the mind of a killer, you get into the mind of a fashion mogul, you get into the mind of a model. You get into those minds, and it's amazing how he put it. I read that book like 3 times over, and I'm still going over it at times. I still, these quotes come back to me oftentimes. Let's say I'm taking a shower and step out of the shower, check out the book again, reread the thing. It is an enlightening book, and I loved it for that reason. I think it opens us to the world. Sometimes a corrupt world of fashion, and he puts it in a very a very nice story. He really puts it in a nice continuous story. And I mean, shout out to Paulo Coelho. Amazing book. In my opinion, I don't understand why that book was not number 1. It should have been a classic. It should have been labeled a classic. To me, anyway, it is a classic. Second book, I know you heard about it. The Alchemist. The Alchemist. Who hasn't heard of The Alchemist? A book that changed. I mean, I'm not going to spend my time much on that book. I mean, the world knows that book. If you haven't, go pick it up right now. It is a must read. Who hasn't heard the quote that when you want something, the entire universe conspires to bring it to you? Who hasn't heard that quote? Isn't it an inspirational quote? Okay, it's become a classic now. It's become a myth. The Alchemist's book has become a myth, and it will be so, in my opinion, for years and years to come. Paulo Coelho, shout out. He left his mark on this earth. All right, let's jump to another genre. What about women and money? Ooh, yeah. A touchy subject, ain't it, women? I really love Kim Kiyosaki and Robert Kiyosaki, but in that case, we're going to talk about Rich Woman. Rich Woman. This is a book, in my opinion, that everybody should read. One, because my sweetheart doesn't read English, believe it or not, but she read that book from cover to cover. It is something that will inspire you, that will make you realize that, if you're a woman, and you've been struggling, to kind of be, you don't want to be dependent upon a man or upon somebody. This is it. I mean, this is the book. You have to pick it up. Rich Woman by Kim Kiyosaki. You're going to learn about entrepreneurship. You're going to learn about the mindset, the wealth mindset, the mindset of being independent and not being dependent upon a man, a job, or a relationship. Women, this book was written for you. It is for you. Go pick it up. Listen to the podcast. Listen to Kim Kiyosaki. Listen to and I mean on the podcast. If you go on my website fredericbaye.com, we review the whole book, and it's just amazing. It's just an amazing book. All right. What about changing your body? Another book that we talked about this year was Ageless Body and Timeless Spine, written by Deepak Chopra. Yes, it is a little bit spiritual, ain't gonna lie. However, he really makes the distinction. He really explains the power of the mind over the body and how we can change our not our DNA, but we can almost, I can say we can almost just by having inner peace, you can reduce the growth of getting older. And what I really love about Deepak Chopra is that he's not, it's really all about a spiritual search, a spiritual growth. It's really about inner peace. That's what it is, and that's why I brought it up to you. That's why it's one of my favorite books ever. I mean, of all time, it is. So, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind. I know for a fact Deepak Chopra has been an advisor to Michael Jackson, to Madonna, to Hillary Clinton, Lady Gaga. All these, we consider, they're celebrities. So they're celebrities, so we consider them, like they're important, and they're somebody. So Ageless Body, Timeless Mind, go pick it up right now. All right, let's continue with the Michael Jackson tapes. Yes, the Michael Jackson tapes. You want to get into the mind of one of the greatest scenes in the world of music, in the world of entertainment as a whole? Yes, the Michael Jackson tapes. This is an amazing book. You're gonna love it. You're gonna reread it. It's a specific, you have to be a fan of Michael Jackson, obviously, and I am a fan of Michael Jackson, and it was one of the most complete, in-depth book I have ever read about him, and it's a real tribute to him, and I appreciate it. And Rabbi Shmuley Boteach really did an amazing job here. Okay, as far as the novels, we have so many novels that we had this year. We had an amazing guest who introduced us to these novels. They told us why they loved it so much. The first one, Dune. I know you read it. I know you did. Dune is to science fiction what Lord of the Ring is to fantasy. This is the first novel. Another novel that we talked about this year was Pet Sematary. That's right, Pet Sematary by Stephen King. It is a classic. If you haven't heard of it, classic Stephen King. Need I say more? One more book that we talked about, On the Holocaust, Dawn by Elie Wiesel. That's right, Elie Wiesel. My lifelong friend, talked to us about this book. To know more about the Holocaust, this is it. It is another classic written simply. You will understand it. It is short. It is 3 books, and they are all short, all simply written. Elie Wiesel, Dawn. You want to know more about the mind of a killer? Go pick it up. All right, The Gospel According to Jesus Christ by Jose Saramago. We talked about that one also. You want a human-like view. You want to have your views challenged about Jesus Christ. My friend talked to us about that book on the podcast. And then another amazing classic, a classic novel, The Gospel According to Jesus Christ. And trust me, it is not just a repetitive story on Jesus Christ. And the 2 last novels I want to talk to you about is The Fool's Quest by Robin Hobb and The Whisper by Donato Carisi. Yes, 2 of my fellow NaNoWrimers. Basically somebody who writes novels just for the fun of it. Talked about these 2 books. One, The Whisperer, is a murder suspense, and she couldn't put the book down. And the other one is The Fool's Quest by Robin Hobb, which is a fantasy. Have you ever read a 700-page novel in one day? Well, my friend who read The Fool's Quest did. So it just shows to you, go pick up that book. If you love fantasy, this is it. Hey guys, I just want to tell you something. what's coming up in 2016 is going to be big. We're going to kick the year off with #1 best-selling author Jennifer Skutelsky. She was going to talk about The Grave of Hummingbirds, her latest book. If you love mysticism, if you love Gothic, January 6th, that's next week, Jennifer Skutelsky will be on the show with us. And let me give you a glimpse of the guests that we're going to have. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about her latest book, Interviewed by God, A Journey to Freedom, with Beth Banning. We're going to have her on the show. She's going to talk about bravery and spiritual growth. Another author we're going to have is #1 best-selling romance author. She has an amazing life story. You got to hear this. She is Donna McDonald, and she's going to talk about her latest book with us. We have an amazing year coming up. Thank you for listening to this year, 2016. And I promise you, I will do everything in my power to not let you down. With this, I wish you a happy new year. Stay safe. And don't forget, live with purpose, passion, and love. Bye-bye.